So my name is Jess Bubbico, and I'm super excited to be with all of you here today over on Facebook. Thank you to everybody who signed on live, who's here with us on Zoom as well. I'm super excited to connect with all of you today. The name of my presentation for today for the Quantum Alignment Show is Awaken Your Intuition and Activate Your Higher Purpose. So we're going to go and dive right into it today. So again, my name is Jess Bubbico. You're here for Awaken Your Intuition and Activate Your Higher Purpose. And again, I'm super excited to be with you. I support conscious leaders in stepping into their higher purpose and trusting their intuition so that they can make their unique contribution to the world. You are here for a reason, you are here for a purpose, and you have gifts to share with the world around you. And so today we're going to talk about how do you begin to activate that higher purpose, and how do you use your intuition as the roadmap and the guide to support you in coming into the fulfillment of your purpose, of really coming into that fullest expression. So I'm excited to be with you here today. You can find me over on Instagram at Jess the Intuitive, and you can check out my website, www.jesstheintuitive.com. So let's dive on into it. So a little bit about me. I'm a 4/6 initiator or manifester. And my journey and my story, I'm going to share with you a bit today about my journey of higher purpose and my journey of stepping out of one life that I lived, which was based in science and a lot of heady knowledge, and sort of into my way, into my journey through human design and spirituality. So I started out in the field as a speech therapist, and I just knew there was always this little rub within me. If you guys know the rub, you can go ahead and comment into the comment box if you know what I'm talking about, that like bit of friction of something's out of alignment here. I don't exactly know what it is, but I know something's out of alignment. I don't know the program. I don't know how to do something different than what I'm currently doing, but I feel this tension and I feel this friction. And so I started out as a speech therapist. I loved my kids. I loved the families I worked with, and I loved the format. I was doing a lot of group therapy, as well as I was trained in brain injury. So I was doing a lot of work with people who had had concussions and brain injuries. But I felt this rub. And as time went on, the longer I was working in the field, it was like that friction was getting hotter and it was getting more challenging to stay. And I knew that I was out of alignment with my true higher purpose. But I couldn't put words to it. I didn't exactly know what that friction was or how to make a change. And so in about 2014, I went to a psychic. I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to figure this out, but I've seen enough movies to know and heard enough about psychics to know that a psychic might be able to help me. And that's kind of where I was at the time. And when I went to this psychic, she actually became my first mentor. I said, I actually think that I could do what you do because I have great ESP, was what I called it at the time. And I had many situations in my lifetime. I was actually born on the same day as my mom and my grandma, my mom's mom. And so the three of us had a strange connection between the three of us. And when my grandmother had passed away, she would start to come to me in my dreams when I was sleeping. I remember this one night distinctively. I was laying in my bed and I was just talking to her in my mind, and I could feel something sitting on the bed next to me, sort of rubbing my back. And I was 16. I was like, I'm out of my mind. I'm crazy. There's no way this is real. And I ended up calling up. I said to her, hey, Grandma, Mom wants to have a dream about you. Go visit her in her dreams. And I was like, well, we'll see if that works. Went downstairs for breakfast that next morning. And my mom said, Jess, I had the craziest dream. I was looking through this keyhole into your bedroom and I could see Grandma sitting on your bed. And in that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, well, guess what I was doing last night? And so that really started to spark this interest and curiosity within me about spirituality and intuition and sort of understanding more of the non-tangible fields. So when I went to the psychic and said, please help me, I know I'm out of alignment, but I don't know what I want to do. It was this beautiful gateway into really starting to understand and work with more of the metaphysical energy. And so from there, what I found, I started teaching people how to connect in with their intuition, how to connect in with their intuitive gifts. And this is where I think the beauty of everything that we go through in life, whoever is watching here today, whatever you're going through, wherever you are in your journey, you truly are exactly where you need to be. Because I ended up coming into human design because I said, you know what? I need something that's a bit more of a roadmap for people to be able to look at something that looks a bit more fact-based, because of the fact that sometimes intuition and the ethereal can be a bit challenging to grasp because it is so non-tangible and so much of it is based off of experience, right? I had an experience when I was 16 where I felt my grandma sitting next to me. My mom had this dream, right? That was like, I mean, you can't deny that dream. And yet I still questioned it and I still didn't know. And what I found is that human design is such an amazing roadmap to help us to solidify this information, to help us to trust ourselves in a deeper way, to help us to really understand, again, how does my intuition speak to me? How is it leading and guiding me? How is it supporting me in reaching my highest potential and coming into the fullness of who I am? And remembering too, highest potential doesn't always mean like reaching the loftiest and biggest goals. It's really about embodying the truth of who you are. And so that's where we are today. Started out in a science-based field, worked my way into the metaphysical, found my way to human design. Super grateful to Karen Curry Parker and her team for just the amazing work that you're doing, because I love the language. It's so uplifting, it's so positive, and it gives such a roadmap to you. So here we are today. Welcome to Awaken Your Intuition and Activate Your Higher Purpose. Okay, so this goes without saying. There's no one else like you who is exactly the same as you are in this world. And you, my friends, are uniquely you for a reason, and for a profound reason. As a reminder, we need you. We need you to be you, because when you're not being you, or you're hiding you, which is all perfect, right? It's all a part of our growth and our evolution. You're really here to play such an important role in this cosmic puzzle that we're all a piece of, in this evolution and this revolution that we're going through. So I just really want to drive that home. And I want to remind you, you are an incredibly important part of this recipe, of this evolution that we are going through. So, okay. I want you to know it's safe for you to surrender to your higher purpose in this lifetime. It's okay. It is more than safe, because I think as humans, we need to know that we're safe and secure. As we look at, even I think about the chakras, for anybody who knows the chakras, right? We know them from the human design chart, but the root chakra is all about safety and security, right? And as we build that energy at the base of our spine, as we come into that energy of safety and security, we can build from there. We have to feel safe within ourselves, safe to be ourselves, in order to come into our creativity, in order to come into our willpower to move us forward, in order to share our hearts, feel safe enough to allow our love to overflow, in order for us to feel safe to communicate ourselves, share our visions, and connect in with that higher energy. So again, you're safe to surrender to your higher purpose in this lifetime, which your human design charts can so beautifully point out to you, and trust that the flow of abundance will come to you and through you as you start to align with that higher purpose. Remembering that abundance, as Karen has her beautiful book, Abundance by Design, is not just about money. Abundance is how, what does abundance mean to you? It's really something that's personal to everyone. Is it having relationships that are really flowing and beautiful and serving with amazing communication and connection? What's your idea of abundance? And certainly financial abundance falls into that category as well. I want you to know that you're fully supported on your path to your higher purpose. I think about the energy of the pendulum, and when, a pendulum swings one direction and it swings another direction. And I think so much about the gate 51, for those of you who know, more about the gates in human design. It's like when our pendulums swing, if our higher purpose and who we're here to be is really this gorgeous alignment that kind of falls in the center of the pendulum. When the pendulum swings too far out of alignment, something is going to snap you back into center, right? Something is going to snap you back and you're going to go, whoa, what did I learn between center and between this energy right here of where I swung out of alignment? What snaps me back into center? And what were the lessons that I learned? Because often the lessons that you learn when you're coming out of alignment are going to be the lessons you're going to help to transmit to other people as well. You're going to share with other people. And then obviously we can swing into totally different directions. And I think about the gate 51 because it's that energy of shock, right? It's here to wake us up to our higher purpose, to initiate us to that next level of coming more back into our purpose and coming back to center. Know that your beautiful intuition is here to lead and guide you and lovingly support you on your journey. So let's take a moment. If you are not operating heavy machinery and you can take a moment to meditate with me, let's take a moment to tune in. All right, so let's just go ahead and close our eyes. And again, if you're driving, something of that nature, or somewhere where you can't close your eyes, this will be recorded so you can always come back to it later on. Take a nice deep cleansing breath. Begin to feel the muscles of your face relax. Begin to feel that relaxation spreading down through the throat, down through the heart, down through the arms, sweeping back up, moving its way down the core, into your hips, down through the legs, down through the feet. Begin to notice what part of your body is connected to the earth or to a solid surface. Maybe it's a chair. And I want you to feel that energy of support underneath you. Begin to imagine grounding your energy down into the earth. So you may begin to imagine roots growing down through the feet, down into the earth, or through the tailbone down into the earth. Growing down further and further. Moving past different forms of rock, different layers of dirt, till this energy plants into the very core of the earth, wrapping around something solid, feeling grounded, feeling secure, feeling stable. Feeling the power of that support underneath you. Begin to draw that energy back up in the same way that it came down. Still feeling anchored, rooted, grounded, supported. And feel that energy of unconditional love start to spread all the way through the body. Filling every nook and cranny, touching every cell. Begin to imagine the crown of your head opening up. And a beautiful golden white light coming down and through you, connecting you with your higher self. Feeling it again spread through every cell in your body, feeling lit up with unconditional love. And expanded by the presence of your higher self. Feeling that energy move past you into this beautiful, almost bubble that spans 6 feet around you, your energy, your auric field. Take a moment to center your attention into your heart space. And I want you on the inside just to imagine saying, I'm listening. I'm ready, I'm present, I'm here, I'm listening to your higher self, to your intuition. Allowing that spark to awaken within you and attune you through your intention to listening to what your higher self has to say to you. When you're ready, as you're ready, go ahead and wiggle your fingers and toes, opening up your eyes, coming back to center. And if you want to drop a comment into the comment box on Facebook or here, you can go ahead and drop it into the chat and I'll check back through them. Let's set the intention today of listening to your higher self, of listening to your intuition. And we're going to move through your human design chart and really understand how your intuition can support you in coming into your higher purpose and coming into the fulfillment of who you came here to be in this lifetime. Your intuition is your guide. It can be your best friend, and you can really start to develop this unshakable bond with it the more you set that intention of listening, of tuning in, of paying attention. And then we can live what's called our intuition-driven life. So today we're going to be talking about understanding how your intuition speaks specifically to you through your intuitive and psychic senses, because everybody has intuitive and psychic senses. And we're going to talk about how to activate and stand powerfully in your purpose so you can make your greatest contribution to our world. And of course, in that, when you're in that alignment, you feel greater joy, satisfaction, success, peace, right? You feel that sense of surprise, dependent upon whatever your human design type is. You're going to feel that in your body and in your life. Okay, so when I started following my intuitively following this path before I ever heard of the words human design in my life, I had struggled because what I was being told by society was different from what my inner knowing was telling me. They were two totally different things. I wanted to be able to flow with my intuition. I kept seeing people traveling the world and doing all this cool stuff that I wanted to do. And every time I would come into alignment with my intuition and really start to flow with that, I would find I would become magnetic for more of what I desired. I was meeting the right people and just making these amazing connections. And yet when I would then go, oh my gosh, there's no way this is real. There's no way that I could sustain this. Like, how could this right? The old program came in that was like, you've got to have the structure that looks like this so you can make the money and you can do the things that you want to do. You've got to follow that. So I would vacillate between intuition and fear. But I knew that when I followed that path, when I went to a place of more flow, everything followed from there, versus when I went into that contraction and the mind center, that mind space, everything sort of felt like it started to, everything started to contract. And so again, human design really confirmed for me and affirmed what my intuition was telling me, which is why it's such an incredible tool for transformation, which I'm sure all of you know because you're here, you're a part of this community. And so it's changed your life in some profound way as well. So what I want to tell you and just start out by saying is trust yourself. You have the answers. You are the authority of your life. You have a deep inner knowing. I would bet that whatever you've dreamed about in your lifetime of doing or being or creating or having in your life, it's here for you and it's meant for you in so many ways. You know, we just need those teachers. This is why in human design, we need each other, because we have those beautiful teachers who can reflect back to us who we are, who can help us to dig through when that fear sets in, when that contraction sets in. We can have teachers and guides and coaches to help us come into our wisdom, right? For those of us that it's hard to, we want to start that business or we want to do that thing, but it's really hard to look at systems and structures because that's not your primary gift. How beautiful that the universe has gifted us other people who can support you in doing that. So trust yourself, even in the places where something is hard for you or it doesn't really resonate. That's why we have each other. That's why we were all created together, so that we can co-create and orchestrate this beautiful life together and create massive change through this evolution and revolution. So let's talk about higher purpose for a moment. What is higher purpose? Your higher purpose is not necessarily just what your job is. I was talking with a friend last night about relationships, and we were talking about this old paradigm of relationship that often I think can in many cases involve codependency. And we were talking about breaking away from that and how challenging it can be to break away from that codependent structure of relationship and to really step into yourself and say, hey, no more. I'm not doing this anymore. I want to change myself. I want to evolve. I want to grow. And how that choice to say, I want to do relationship differently. I want to create a more conscious relationship where I'm looking at myself. My partner is looking at their self, like themselves. That is a part of higher purpose and higher evolution and higher consciousness, because what happens from there? We pass this new program forward to others. We show and model for other people the fact that there's this other way of doing things. There's this other way of doing relationships. And then then that model gets passed along. And then there's this another amazing evolution and revolution of how relationship is done, perhaps through that person. That's a part of higher purpose as well. When we say, hey, this old way of doing things, this old system, this old structure, this old hierarchy, whatever it may be, that really doesn't feel good for me. It doesn't feel aligned for me. It doesn't feel like my highest truth. We start to say, hey, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to stand in myself. I'm going to learn more about my own design and how I'm meant to show up in relationships. When we do that, we inspire other people around us to do the same. And then you're stepped into your higher purpose just by being you, just by choosing different. And higher purpose can span into your job and your work. I can't tell you how many people thought it was crazy to go from speech therapy, science. I had my Brain Injury Association of America certification and all this stuff. And it was beautiful and amazing. And I loved it. And I was like, there's a higher truth. There's a higher purpose here. And in that, the work that I'm able to do so much more profound for myself, because my cup is full and I'm here to help to show other people transformation. And interestingly enough, as we are going through 2020 and what 2020 is, this amazing spark has happened that has allowed me to go see that old structure. Was it serving you? Was, missing out on your life serving you just for money or whatever it may have been? So you, my friends, all stepping into your higher purpose, listening to your intuition when your intuition says, there's friction here. I'm not into this. This isn't feeling good. I know there's a different way. I've got to try something different. Whether it makes you money or it doesn't make you money, that's a part of your higher purpose, your alignment, your authentic and genuine alignment, and you being in the truth of who you are is your higher purpose. So I want to commend and applaud all of you spiritual warriors out there who are stepping into your truth. And again, remember, we're not here to do this alone. That's why we have beautiful communities such as this, so we can see ourselves. We can, be guided in the direction and the path of our higher purpose through working too with people who have done it before us and can show us different ways. So higher purpose is all about you stepping into alignment with yourself, stepping into your higher truth, deciding consciously or sometimes unconsciously to evolve, to change, to grow, and to do things differently. And again, sometimes we make money from that, and sometimes we don't necessarily make money from it. Although I would say at times as well, if we're more aligned in our relationships and more stepped into our higher truth in our relationships and our connections and where we choose to live and how we choose to live, your cup runneth over, and that can give you more energy to create and build your business, or to start studying that thing that you want to start studying so you can start your business or whatever it may be. It's almost like by proxy, we start to really step into, we can start to create more financial abundance as well when we're aligned, because we're not having these energy leaks that sort of suck our energy out and don't allow us to be fully in our own vitality and in our own essence. Okay, so this is my human design chart. Welcome to Jess Bubbico, aka Jess the Intuitive, right here on the screen on the left. So Your personality sun, which I'm sure many of you know from this work, makes up 70% of the energy in your chart and can really help and support you in pointing to your higher purpose in this lifetime. So check out where your personality sun is, your conscious sun over here on the left side or right side as it's circled here. It can really support you in understanding, oh, okay, what am I here to do in this lifetime, right? What is my life all about? So beautifully enough, mine's in the gate 25, which is all about spirit and consciously connecting in with spirit in order to fulfill your higher purpose, fulfill your higher destiny, and guide your life. It's about being of service, right? It comes off of this G center over here. And so this, I want to just tell everyone here, one of the things I think so beautiful about our human design is we can use the simplicity of our design as anchors. In the days and the moments when, this blessing of an open head and an open ajna starts to overthink and try to create the structures like everyone else has created and second guesses and doubts and try so hard to be certain about everything. And try to convince others I'm certain of that energy, right? Like, no, this is 100% right. What I can anchor back into is I'm here to trust spirit. I'm here to trust my alignment with spirit. That's my word. You can use your personality sun, whatever your personality sun is in, use it as an anchor. Draw on, if you're a visual person, which we'll talk about this with the clairs, you're a visual person, draw an anchor on a piece of paper and carry it in your wallet, put it in your purse, tape it up on your wall and just write, spirit or, whatever, truth, integrity, whatever your sun is, use that as your anchor. Write it down. I love index cards and note cards. Take it and write on a note card, the definition of what that gate is all about. Write out the imbalance and a few ways to re-anchor yourself into it. Because if you can simply start with this one simple energy, I believe personally, again, this is my personal belief. I believe that if you can start with that one simple energy as your anchor and something to come back to, profound shifts and changes can happen from there, right? Because for me, I can say, okay, I know spirit is my guide. I know that my purpose here is to really listen to spirit, follow spirit, trust spirit for my next steps on things. Well, that starts to guide when I feel out of alignment, when I feel in fear, or I feel in that shadow, that starts to really guide the direction that I take. If I'm stuck on a problem, instead of trying to go into a more of a heady or a logical energy, I'm going to go out into nature, because that's to me where I connect with spirit. I'm going to go into meditation because that's how I know I can be aligned with my purpose, with my higher purpose. It serves as an anchor for me to truly come back to myself, as opposed to trying to be like anybody else or search for more of the answers through other people. Your definition in your chart, I have kind of a funky circle over here, but you can see most of the definition in the chart. Really, it's anywhere that's colored in. So your definition, your defined centers are colored in. Your defined channels and gates are colored in. Anywhere where there's color, it's really about the innate gifts that you bring on a regular and consistent basis to the world. If you have this amazing emotional authority that's colored in. I call it amazing because I hated it. I despised my emotional authority for the longest time. I'm like, you mean I have to wait to make a decision? I'm an Aries. I'm a fire sign. I want to go and I want to do it yesterday. But I've come to love it because it can really support me in understanding that my emotions are actually my gift. I'm not going to shame myself about my emotions anymore like I've done in the past. I'm going to see them as my superpower and my super strength. And so we can start to, when they say, is it Walt Whitman? I can't remember who said it. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. We can start to look at our definition and say, whoa, this is my superpower. Like, this is who I came to be. These are the gifts that I came to bring into the world. Willpower. I've got that willpower. Like, let's go. I could talk for days. If the quantum alignment show was 3 hours, I could probably talk for 3 hours, though that would probably be a bit more in my own personal shadow. But we can start to look at our gifts and go, hold on. Number one, am I looking at this as more of a curse than a blessing? Am I looking at this gift that I have? Am I looking at my emotional authority? Or, maybe you have, you have that beautiful ajna energy that's defined for you, where you can think of things in a bit more of a logical and consistent. You can think in a more consistent way. Oh man, I always get stuck in my head, or I'm too logical. Hold on. That's my gift. So how can I actually start to look at it in that way and use it in that way? Again, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And you could start to really empower yourself through that knowledge, through that intention. Because again, you came here, you chose to come here at this time. If that's your belief. Some people probably believe it, some don't. Whatever your personal belief is your personal belief. But I believe you came here to be this expression of you in this lifetime. And so how can we use this and start to see this to our advantage to again, lead in this evolution, this revolution, and be in your higher purpose? Because you're exactly who you need to be, where you need to be on your journey and in your life. The questions that you have in your head, the things that you don't have certainty around, they're beautiful and they're purposeful, because they're going to inform and guide the direction that you go in as well. If there's fear or question around, oh my gosh, I've got all this trauma from my past that I'm just having all of the trouble moving through. Like it's so challenging for me. I feel so stuck in this childhood trauma that I have. Well, that's going to inform where you're going to go next, right? You might start working with a Reiki healer, somebody who does EMDR or trauma-informed therapy or whatever it may be. You're going to meet people there who are going to shape the direction of your life. You're going to, you're going to take a direction that maybe you start to go in that direction because you learn how much you love it and how profound it is for you, and how much it's changed your life. Now you want to share that gift with other people. So the challenges that we have in our life are purposeful. The gifts that we have are purposeful. It's all here. It's all purposeful and it's all beautiful. And that's how you make your unique contribution to this world, is through really shifting that lens of perception and starting to honor and value who you truly are as a person. Your openness in the chart points to how you interact with the environment and how you're meant to learn, grow, and become really wise. Grounding for me throughout my lifetime classically was a huge problem. I've got this undefined root, right? And so finding my ground was really challenging in a lot of ways. And so instead of going, oh my gosh, I'm so ungrounded, I can't do this, right? I have an undefined root. Like this is awful. It really becomes this energy of, ooh, so what works for me, right? Like maybe I'm going to try this on for a little bit, or try that on for a little bit. Maybe I'm going to try this other thing. We can start to see like what works for me. Is there an energy that I love being in that can show me more about grounding and how to ground? A good friend of mine, we were talking the other day, and she said, she does a lot of work with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And she's like, I like being in the energy of other people who know how to do certain things, because I start to build a neural pathway in my brain by watching what they're doing and seeing how it's done. Something suddenly becomes possible. We have those mirror neurons in our brain that we can watch something, right? I watch Karen on the videos, for the certifications. And I'm like, oh man, I watch so much by watching Karen and observing what she's doing. It starts to put a neural pathway in my brain that I can start to actually access that information in a new and a different way. And it's the same thing with our openness in the chart, right? Man, I've got that open spleen, like wide open spleen. And for me, fear, it was either like I'm riding high on intuition or I'm crashing down in fear. And so I started to go, okay, well, how do people deal with fear? I'm going to start to learn a new way to deal with fear. I could say I'm usually never at a loss for words from the throat perspective, right? That's defined. But how can I actually start to build a neural pathway in my brain by watching somebody else, by learning from somebody else, in order to start to actually use the wisdom of this center. Wherever you are open, you are wise. So look at your chart, and start to look at those undefined centers as so juicy, because you have unlimited possibility and unlimited ways to experience that energy, and you really get to choose how you want to use it. Again, habits sometimes can die hard, but you really start to experience a lot of possibility through your open centers and the wisdom there. So again, this is going to inform your purpose, right? Big part of my purpose is learning to not get stuck in fear and learning to lead from intuition. So you get to do this exact same thing. And again, these are gorgeous, beautiful, fabulous messages that you're going to then pass forward by you being the youest you that you can possibly be. I feel like Willy Wonka when I say that. So I want you to just take a moment and really consider for yourself, how could knowing this information support me in making my greatest contribution to my community and the world at large? When you think about your purpose and your purpose sun, your personality sun, that conscious sun energy, how could that support you in making your greatest contribution to your community and the world? How could knowing your gifts support you in making your greatest contribution to your community and the world? How could understanding your openness and choosing to work with and look at your openness in a new way support you and your community and the world at large? Just take a moment and really consider that. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to 20 seconds to think on it. Okay. So drum roll, please. The moment we've all been waiting for is we're going to start talking about intuition. Oh, here's how it changed things for me. I backed myself up a second. I started to become okay. I had a lot of stories around intuition. I mean, I didn't tell anyone that I was doing mediumship work or intuition, working with intuition for the longest time because I had shame around it. And so how it started to change things for me was like, oh man, that's why I'm here. Like, that's a big part of why I'm here. And we're always going to have challenges. Like, our greatest challenges are going to be our greatest gifts in so many ways. And so it started to change things for me because I started to trust myself a whole heck of a lot more. Interestingly enough, as a speech therapist, I'm an initiator. I'm here to like get things going and get things started. The therapy part was really challenging for me because there was a lot of energy I had to work from 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening, going back to back kids all day long. That was really challenging for me. When I was in the schools, I loved doing assessments. I'm like, put me in, give me an assessment. I'll be with this kiddo. And then I'm going to sit on my computer for however long and write everything out and get them started. I want to get them started, but I don't want to finish it. And I was always like, oh, how selfish of me. Or I was judging myself for that. Right. And then I'm like, oh, hello, initiator. That makes sense, right? It's the same thing in my business. I want to get people started. I want to help them kick things off. And so again, it can really help you to just find deeper self-acceptance and self-love. Again, you can put this all together to support you in paving your path to your own higher purpose and sharing your gifts with the world. And yes, you must follow your strategy and authority, right? If you're whatever your strategy and authority is for your type, that's an amazing way to start trusting your intuition. If you've got that sacral authority, start trusting that gut hunch, that gut or If you've got that emotional authority, allowing yourself to move all the way through your wave so that you can make your decision, right? If you don't have any authority, you're none, you're a reflector, you want to wait that 28-day cycle. Splenic authority, you're going to listen to your intuition, which I think the next part will be incredibly helpful for you. And self-projected projector, you're going to talk it out. You're going to hear yourself saying it, right? So these are going to be amazing ways for you to follow your intuition. And we can start training our intuition to support you in your everyday life. There are indicators in the chart of where your intuition is in the chart. Karen did an amazing intuition by design quantum alignment show, I think at the end of the summer or middle of the summer. So I would say go back and listen to that. If you want to look at where your intuition is in your chart, go back and listen to that. I'm going to kind of jump into the juiciness today of what the different intuitive gifts are so that you have a bit of background on how your intuition may speak to you. And then, like I said, you can go back to Karen's amazing quantum alignment show to see where the indicators are in the chart if you'd like. So, hello. How does your intuition speak to you? So actually, I would love for you to take a moment and actually ask yourself, like, what are some of the ways your intuition comes through for you? And if you want to drop them into the chat box, you're more than welcome to drop them into the chat, or over on Facebook, you can put them into the comment section. Do you see things? Do you hear things? Do you just know and you don't know how you know? Do you get messages through birds? You know, do you see signs and symbols in your environment? Do you find feathers everywhere? Do you get chills along your back and down your spine? What ways do you receive intuition? And I'm going to actually go ahead and check because I really love listening to or seeing single words and knowing, feeling things in my body, knowing. Amazing. Hearing, knowingness, repeating numbers, animals, feathers, all of, knowing, feeling, smells. Amazing. Okay. Amazing. Okay. Your intuition speaks to you through the clairs. I like to call them the clair abilities. Somebody else might also call them the clair abilities. I feel like I made it up, but I don't know that that's completely true. The clairs, your intuition is going to speak to you through your clair senses. So let's go ahead and dive on into what your clair senses are. First and foremost is clairvoyance. This is all about vision, okay? Receiving mental images through your mind's eye. This can look like many different things. This can look like vivid dreams. If you've had vivid dreams, you can go ahead and also comment in the box if you'd like to. You might be a visual person. You might see images in your mind's eye. You're like, ooh, Cindy just popped into my mind's eye. I just saw a picture of Cindy in my mind's eye. I'm going to call Cindy after the quantum alignment show today, right? You might be somebody who physically can see chakra colors on people's bodies. This doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to see it physically around the person. You might be able to look and go, whoa, I see that yellow chakra in the middle of her body, that solar plexus. In my mind's eye, it looks off. Hey, are you doubting yourself a lot, right? Like, are you having some issues with personal power or whatever it may be? You can see them in your mind's eye, or you might see them around people as well. A good friend of mine is a full sight medium, and she physically sees people in the environment around her, like physically around her. So she has a really cool gift in that. I am good not seeing things like that in my energy field. But again, clairvoyance, you might see an aura around somebody. You might see chakra colors. You might get images in your mind's eye. You might have a dream about something. Psychic and intuitive information enters in just as quickly as it exits. So you might find that you're like, oh, I don't think I'm particularly clairvoyant. But like I said, with intuition, it's a muscle, and we just need to train it to hear it and see it and feel it. Kids, they live in this state all through, they're always seeing stuff and imagining and using their imaginations. And as adults, it's partially based on science because of our brainwave state and how we start to go into that beta brain, which takes us out of connection with our intuition, that higher brainwave state. So we can start to learn to go into those lower brainwave states to support us in accessing our intuition. But also, I think we just sometimes forget, like we're taught, like, stop daydreaming, stop thinking about that, right? Like, stop, you're not even in the room, quit imagining, like, be here. And so we start to turn it off as adults, as we get older. So we can, as we train it, we set that intention to start paying attention more, you're going to notice more if you see something, if you visually see something. And we can train ourselves to have any of these intuitive and psychic senses. They might come more easily to certain people than others. You might sort of have an inclination towards clairvoyance, but you can train yourself to use all of these senses. Okay. Claircognizance. Claircognizance. I used to have pictures of older women, and I called them Claire on these slides. I thought they were super cute. Just a sidebar. So claircognizance is having a clear knowing of something without hearing, seeing, or experiencing evidence of it in your physical reality. It's not experienced with an emotion. Oh man, I'm just thinking about Karen. I got to call Karen today. I don't know why, I just do. Or a girlfriend of mine texted me because now people always message me. They're like, guess what happened? She's like, man, I kept thinking about, she kept just having thoughts about, it sounds morbid, but thoughts about death before she went to bed. And she's like, this is so weird. I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but I just am. And she got a text in the middle of the night that somebody had passed away. So claircognizance is just like, you know something and you don't know why you know it or how you know it, you just know. And I find this is often one of the harder senses for people to trust when they have this claircognizance, because it's a lot easier when you're like, well, I saw an image in my mind, or I got a feeling or a sense about something. But claircognizance takes a good bit of just trusting yourself to know what you know. So claircognizance, again, you got to practice. That's it. Practice trusting what you know. Clairaudience, this is clear hearing. You might hear something drop in. Oh man, I heard call Brian, or I heard, go to K Vista coffee shop, right? I just heard it in my mind. Like I heard it drop in auditorily. Or you might hear, I had another client who would be like, do you hear that? She would hear like flutes playing, like I think it was Native American, maybe, I don't know if it was a flute, but she'd hear Native American music playing externally. So clairaudience is clear hearing. You can receive a message through your hearing, or you can hear it internally or externally. Also music. So sometimes, if you have a song stuck in your head, check out the lyrics and see what they mean. Notice what you were thinking about. Were you thinking about your job and what to do next in your job? If you were, check out what was the song that you heard. Whatever it may be, notice what songs repeat to you, because they're messages, they're clairaudient messages. Clairsentience is all about having that gut feeling on something. So we call this sacral authority or sacral authority in human design, but it's getting that gut feeling, that gut feeling of, whether something is right or wrong for you, but it also spans too into physically feeling. So if you walk you walk up to your friend Roger, and Roger just had shoulder surgery, you might feel Roger's shoulder surgery in your right shoulder. Clair empathy. This is sensing other people's emotions. We got our empaths, our beautiful open solar plexus people out there in the world. You might become overwhelmed by other people's energy and emotions. And as we know, with all of our open emotional centers, self-care, boundaries, understanding those triggers, things of that nature, having space, grounding yourself, putting your feet on the floor, because it can be an incredible tool to support you in understanding other people and where they're at and what's going on and how to guide them. And if you're soaking all that energy up like a sponge, that can be a problem, right? Or internalizing it. Just a couple of additional clairs are clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, claircognizance, and clairempathy are sort of our major clairs, as I like to think of them. But some people commented also into the comment box. Clairangency is about holding, it's psychometry, holding an object and being able to read it. So if I held Cindy's watch and I wasn't near Cindy, I can read the object. And receive information from it. Or if you've ever been into a thrift store, have you ever gone to a thrift store and tried on a jacket and been like, whoa, I can feel the energy of who wore this before, right? Because objects hold our energy. Clairsalience is all about smelling psychic information. So if your Grandpa Joe used to smoke pipe tobacco, you might smell pipe tobacco in your home and, pick up on that information of that person being around you. Clairgustance is receiving a clear taste in your mouth without having eaten a darn thing. So sometimes like psychic detectives and that type of energy, they might go in and taste metallic or something in their mouth when they're on a crime scene. They're getting the information intuitively through taste. Again, your intuition is a muscle. If you're starting to say to yourself, you know what, I'm not totally sure how my intuition speaks to me. Again, you can check back with Karen's show on Intuition by Design because it was beautiful. But just train yourself and start to trust yourself to listen to and trust it, which is what I do. I teach people how to listen to their intuition and understand how that information is coming through for them. But it's a muscle. We can all develop it. I love when people are like, I'm not intuitive, right? Like, I'm not. And then we start to point out the different ways in which they actually are. And a lot of times those people are just very claircognizant as well. So they're not recognizing how intuitive they are. I find often, this is a very broad generalization, and I can't say this is 100% true, but I've noticed in my own experience and working with others and teaching them how to tune into their intuition and listen to their intuition, that men tend to be more claircognizant, although many women are. I see this, men often leaning more towards claircognizance and many women being a bit more on the clairvoyant and clairsentient side. And men, I think, with the clairaudience. But again, like, it's all in your human design chart. That's just what I've noticed with many men and women. So what are the keys to listening accurately to your intuition? Number one, trust yourself. Start to play with it. Follow your strategy and your authority, right? Especially if you're a generator, a manifesting generator, and you know you're going to get those signs out around you. I mean, we're all going to receive signs in our environment in different ways, but start to trust yourself and play with it, right? I mean, start with the small stuff. Just noticing who pops in your head today, so that you can start to build that trust. And when you build that trust with yourself, what's going to happen as a result? You're going to start to use your intuition in other situations that maybe there's a bit more emotional charge around or fear around, things of that nature. So even if it's, I'm and see what color shirt my coworker is wearing, what color am I seeing in my mind's eye, or what do I feel, and you're like, oh, red, it's definitely red. You go and you see your coworker and you're like, oh yeah, I got it right. Awesome. Well, how did I do that? Well, I was seeing it in my mind's eye. Like, I just saw a red flash, or I heard the word red, or just knew it and I didn't know how, right? Then the next time it's like, you can start to play with it in situations that are a bit more, like maybe it's guiding you to where to move, where to look at to move, things of that nature. Start to trust yourself more. And that's where that's the observation part. Observe how it happened, and then create space as well. Like, create space in your life, create space in your home. Maybe for you, it is, just beginning to really do more meditation or get out in nature, because you notice you hear your intuition more consistently when you're out in nature. So again, intuition is here to lead and guide you in every single step of your life. Follow your strategy, follow your authority, and hone your intuition to support you in embodying your higher purpose, shifting the way you do relationships, shifting the way that you work, shifting the kind of environment that you live in, shifting the way that you eat, whatever it is that your higher purpose is calling you into, changing your job, changing your career, changing your business. Start to trust that more and more. Lean on your strategy, lean on your authority, lean on your intuition. Start to embody those gifts, recognize those gifts, recognize the wisdom of those open centers, because they're really juicy and they're really beautiful and they're really here for you. Because when your cup overflows, because you're in that alignment with yourself, that quantum alignment, you share that goodness with the world around you, and you become my teacher. This was actually the psychic I went to. Her name is Gina Spriggs. She says you become self-full, right? Like, people say selfish. It's like self-full. You're full of self, not full of yourself, but you're full of self. Yeah, you're fulfilled. Okay, so are you ready to step into your higher purpose, embody your gifts, and develop an unshakable connection with your intuition to lead and guide you in your life? I have Being You Fall Camp that is going to be starting November 22nd and November 29th. It is a 2-day camp, and it is 2 half days. It is designed to support you in answering the following questions. Number one, what's my higher purpose and my unique gifts? So we'll be diving into your human design chart. And with that, we're going to be you'll be connecting with community, and we'll be doing activities to integrate it. So it won't just be information, it's information and integration, and really starting to look at how do I put these pieces of the puzzle together and integrate it and walk it in my life. What role did you come to play here in this world? How does the environment and the world around you support you in stepping more into the truth of who you are, that evolution and that revolution? And how do you use your intuition to surrender to and fulfill your highest purpose and your higher destiny? So we're going to be really diving into intuition and intuitive development during this class as well, so that you can start to trust it, trust yourself, and really evolve and bloom into that higher purpose. This is just a testimonial from someone who took it last time. And I thought I really enjoyed this because I think it gives a good description around class. When I first found Being You Camp, I was looking for a map home to myself. This class showed me that that map was in my possession the whole time. Jess is a magical and magnetic leader who creates a safe vessel to learn and be vulnerable in. The class made me laugh, cry, and provided a hand to help navigate my journey. It's a great introduction to human design and intuition, and is paced wonderfully, giving you opportunities to reflect long after the summer ends. It was a summer camp this summer. Being You is a courageous leap I recommend everyone take. So Being You Fall Camp is $197 until the 16th. You can use a promo code until Sunday for our emotional authorities if you want to sleep on it and you're feeling called towards it, to register. And it comes down to $167. So if you're interested, and it'll be off of the pay in full option. So if you're interested in joining us, of course, I forgot to put the actual website on here where you can find Being You Fall Camp, but you can head over to www.jesstheintuitive.com/beingyouFallCamp. So www.jesstheintuitive.com. I'll flash it up on the screen in just a second, /beingyouFallCamp. And I think we have some questions, so I want to make sure I leave some time to answer. But thank you for your time today. I love this is the sign you've been looking for, because our signs are all around us. So keep your eyes open, keep your eyes peeled, because they're always here for you and always around you. Again, you can connect with me on Instagram @JessTheIntuitive, or head over to jesstheintuitive.com/beingyouFallCamp to check out camp. And I'll flash this up here. Cindy, are there questions to answer?
There were some questions. I'm going to scroll back because there was one on if their personality sun is not the more negative gate. So this was, Amanda said hers is the gate of doubt. So gate 63.
Okay. So it's really, really interesting. I love that you bring this up, because again, I want to come back to the quote. I'm just going to flash this on the screen so everybody can see it. I want to come back to the quote again. When you change the way that you look at things, the things you look at change. And I want to really invite you to look at, well, what does that mean? So if your gate, your conscious sun, personality sun, is all about doubt and having doubt at the beginning, that doesn't mean, hey, Amanda, your life purpose and destiny and prophecy is to be always in doubt. I would say, how can you start to master and understand doubt and understand the ins and outs of doubt, knowing that doubt maybe is something that's going to ask you to go deeper within yourself and understand the inner workings of where that doubt comes from. Like, where does that doubt come from? What are some of those stories? And maybe for you, you're going to start to support other people in understanding doubt. Maybe it's mindset work. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe you're going to do ancestral healing because you recognize that that energy is of the past. It's doubt that's been passed down through the lineages. So you really want to learn and master this energy of doubt and doubt at the beginning, because you're going to learn all of the ways that it can springboard you forward. So again, I would say, I really don't believe there's any negative gates. And I love Karen's work so much. And that's why I chose to teach with her, because she spins everything in a positive light.
Right. And that is actually the gate 63, which in quantum human design, want to double check is called curiosity. So I like how you did a spin and taking doubt so that you're learning and renaming it as curiosity.
Yeah.
Paige had a question that said, that's 2 questions in Zoom, and then there was a couple questions that came up on Facebook. Paige says, does it mean anything when I don't get a strong yes, no, splenic sacral hit?
What's her authority? Did she say what her authority is?
Paige, what's your authority?
Yeah, if you can drop it in the chat. I'm going to just kind of go off of what's coming to me in this moment. She's splenic authority. Okay, awesome. So if you're splenic authority and you don't really get gut hunches on things, I really don't get gut hunches on many things in terms of, I mean, I'm emotional authority, but what I would say is, I think there's a couple things to look at. Number one is your relationship to your intuition and your relationship to trusting your intuition, because I think that sometimes we've sort of been conditioned out of listening to it in general. So I would say start to become an investigator, like become a private eye. This is my magnifying glass to look through. Like become a private eye and like understand, like starting to go, oh, whoa, hold on. Yesterday, I was thinking about so-and-so, and that, and then that person presented in my life, or I've been thinking about writing a book, and suddenly everyone's coming to me about writing a book or a podcast or whatever the thing may be. Start to investigate, because it might come to you more consistently than you think. But there might just be that energy of not necessarily understanding how your intuition speaks to you, which I think is important for splenic authority, because I think that energy of just follow your intuition as a splenic authority is like, okay, but what does that actually mean? How do I do that? So start to use your own experience to in one of my classes that I teach, I give out an intuition journal. Like, keep a note section in your phone or get a notebook and start to write out and track the ways in which it's coming through for you. Because again, when you focus, it's the law of focused intention or something like that. It's what you focus on.
Yeah, what you focus on brings more. So I think that's a lot of focused attention. But yeah, it was, and especially with splitting, it's very quiet. Paige also had Paige is also a generator. So the splenic generator, that's why this generator authority.
Okay.
So listening to that gut and just practicing a lot. Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm. Not that you're supposed to do that, Jessica.
I can't do that. I've gotten myself in trouble a lot of times by trying to do that.
But she has a question. Her entrepreneur challenge is finding an established frame to work in. And I guess that would be something that even if she was working in your camp, that's something that you'd help teach them.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. We look at what environments are right for you, what setup, what, I don't want to say setups, what foundation is correct for you, because at the end of the day, not the same foundation is going to be correct for everyone. So yeah, that's definitely something we could dive into.
Okay. So there's a question on Facebook that came in fairly early in when you were talking about, you felt the friction, in order to change. Jenny says, does friction have to be the main sign? Because even if you have the 2838, the channel of adventure or struggle.
Yeah. I would say that was my experience. Like, that friction that I was feeling was my experience. And that's how I knew I was out of alignment with myself. There's different things for me that show me when I'm out of alignment. Like, for me personally, one of them is like starting to gain weight. I know I'm not in the right place for myself because it's my own protection mechanism, or that friction is telling me I'm going against my own intuition. So what I would say is, like, look at it. I'd say it's dependent upon the person. So I would say, look back through your experience and go, what has shown me in the past when I'm out of alignment with myself? What does that look like, feel like? And again, when we look through the human design lens, you're going to look at, okay, if you're a manifesting generator, or a generator, you're going to feel frustrated. For me, I'm a manifester or an initiator. I feel anger. And that's for me what friction and heat is. It's like, I'm angry. get out of my way. If you're an orchestrator, you might feel some bitterness. If you're a reflector, you're probably going to feel some disappointment. So understanding and knowing you're not self-theme is also really going to support you in, seeing where you're out of alignment.
Sarah brought in again this when you were talking about authority, and I know you briefly touched on it, but what if you have no authority as a reflector? How do they come to make this? How do they trust their intuition or know that their intuition is?
Yeah, great question. I have so much respect for reflectors. I have a friend who's a reflector, and for her, she throughout her 28-day cycle will sit and I know she does a lot of meditation for herself, and a lot of connecting through nature and things of that nature. What I would say is use your 28-day cycle to actually sit down, to tune in, to pay attention to the signs in your environment. Instead of and I'm not saying you're saying this, but instead of I need to know right now, I've got to figure it out right now. I'd really invite you to keep track over your 28 days of what signs are coming in. What signs do you see in your environment, and pay attention. And again, pull out your private eye and investigate.
The last question you can see in the chat on Zoom was from Melissa. I don't know if you want to read it or if you want me to read it.
This is such good content. Thank you. You're so welcome, Melissa. I'm feeling drawn to dive into HD a lot lately. Amazing. I hope you join us for Being You Summer Camp. Appreciate the information.
Kind of right above it.
Okay.
What's the right angle cross of contagions? She has, her personality sun would be the 8.
The 8. I know that. So hang on one second. So I want to just look here. So I know it's so funny because the old human design language is immediately coming to mind right now, which is all about its contribution. But I know in quantum human design, it's fulfillment, right? To push the edges of your boundaries of authentic self-expression and realize that you being the fullest expression of your authentic self is your purpose, to use your authentic expression to inspire others to fulfill themselves. So you're really here. I mean, that's an energy that is in the G center. So I just want to make sure I'm reading. What's the writing? Okay. So you're really here to be yourself and to come into the fullest potential of who you are. It's fulfillment. So yeah, you're here to shine your light and to really follow your truth in so many ways and come into yourself. So,
and if you see the rest of it, she does have the 29 in there too. So,
okay.
So she's embodying it too.
Yep.
Bring in that desire and embodiment.
Yep.
Well, we're past the hour, and I know you said that you could talk for 3 hours, but
I know
we could listen to you for 3 hours. But my purpose is to be the gentle dinger and say,
no, I wouldn't do that for you. Wouldn't do that to you anyways. All right.
So I have posted it's on the Facebook page, your link, and it was also in the chat. If you would like to do the Being You Fall Camp. And I love, again, do you want to tell them how they can connect with you on Instagram? Because you do have lots of nice posts that both there.
Thank you. Yeah, you can head over to @JessTheIntuitive. So that's me on Instagram @JessTheIntuitive. You can find all my information there. You can head over to JessTheIntuitive.com as well. And you can check out Being You Fall Camp at JessTheIntuitive.com/BeingYouFallCamp.
You.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, everybody, for joining in today. Have a great day.